Before this video starts, I just want to give a massive shout out to all my channel members. If you want to receive a shout out, then become a channel member today and you'll be shown on screen like all these other channel members here. Anyways, enjoy the video. On July 3rd, version 14.5 dropped in the Japanese version and dropped on July 28th for the international versions. This update contains a lot of content and I want to talk about everything that was added in this version. Since we have loads to cover, all I ask is if you enjoyed this update analysis, then give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and comment down below what was the most exciting thing about this update was for you. Anyways, let's get to the new content. All units discussed here will use their level 30 stats. The first new unit added is a brand new Almighty, this being Zeta Skanda. They have 81,000 health, deal 20,000 damage, which is bumped up to 40,000 with a level 2 wave, and a speed stat of 62. They have a 100% chance to weaken red, angel, and alien enemies for 4.8 seconds, is a Sage Slayer, and also has a summon. Skanda's kit is rather unique for a rusher unit, who, instead of focusing on damage, he focuses on crowd controlling. Given his short 200 range, it is best to use him against enemies in stages that have a high presence of melee-based enemies. Some of these include Shy Boy, Horfem, and Star Pang. His wave gives him very good piercing, allowing him to snipe enemies like Calamaria, Sleipnir, Ursa Major, or Moth. His Sage Slayer is mainly meant to keep his weaken at a full duration against enemies like Tekkenol Hyena and Dr. KO, though he does get a good boost in health to 162,000, with an okay damage boost to 48,000. Their low knockback count of 3 is a little awkward for a rusher, meaning he isn't able to get the most out of his abilities sometimes. This is somewhat mitigated against starter aliens due to their warp, but outside of this, the weaken uptime is somewhat low, only at 47%. His Conjurer is able to freeze all enemies for 3.33 seconds, or about 4 seconds against treasure traits. This Conjurer is able to make him synergize a lot with other rushers, such as Bahamut, to make handling powerful threats a much easier ordeal, especially when paired with the Thunderbolt. Skanda is a fairly solid CC unit when given melee enemies to use as stepping stones, and his Conjurer can allow him to be used with other rushers to let him deal way more damage than they should in a single life. Then we have a new Castaway event unit, this being the Tasmanian Giant Crab from Survive Mola Mola. They sport a rather weak health stat of 5.4k health, but deal a rather large 23,000 damage and have a 50% chance to break barriers. However, this unit's 180 range, single target, 5 speed, and 1 knockback mainly relegate them to use in restriction stages seen in the Cats of the Cosmos and the Underground Labyrinth as a semi-potent barrier breaker. The max stats at 50 plus 10 or 10.2k health and dealing 44,000 damage. This update sees the return of the Neon Genesis Evangelion collab, and along with it comes 2 brand new units. One of these being the mass production Ava units. They sport 42,500 health and deal 25,000 damage with the 50% chance to freeze traitless for 3 seconds and angels for 3.6 seconds, along with wave and knockback immunity. While at first, this kit may seem bad for an Uber, what makes them extremely strong lies in the name itself, the fact that they could be mass produced. They sport a cost of only 2,700 and have a cooldown of 34 seconds. This spam ability for an Uber can allow you to easily get several out on the field in many stages, and with having multiple out at once, you can easily get solid freezes and damage against a boss. Being able to outrange the likes of Wing Piggy, Goku Rocco, Arost, and basically all of the crazed and manic cats gives them a ton of value. Their wave immunity is nice for enemies like Rajakan and Yukan. Traitless enemies are also the main group of enemies to abuse waves, so being able to counter them with this immunity is great as well. Their main shortcoming is down to the fact that they're hard to work in stages where you can't get a good stack of them going, such as timer and cache tight stages, but overall, this isn't that much of an issue in most stages. Overall, these guys are an extremely solid addition to the Ava collab, and their traitless targeting can give a lot of new players an easy victory in most major early to mid game stages. The last unit added is a brand new legend rare and the third collab legend rare, this being the Messenger of Moonset Kaoru. They're a clone of Izanami of Eventide, so they share a lot of core aspects with her. Kaoru sports a damage stat of 12,750 or 63,750 against traitless with 102,000 health. They also have a 40% chance to knock back traitless, sports a Sage Slayer, as well as immunities to waves, slow, explosions, and on top of that, they also have a Conjure. Their damage against traitless is very good, and discounting Izanami's Savage Blow deals more damage overall. Kaoru's wave immunity makes him an excellent option for the various traitless threats that use waves, like the Kori family, Titan family, and Craze Maneko to name a few examples. Him being able to snipe enemies all the way up to 850 range can also cause a lot of the more backline or traitless enemies to die quickly. The knockback is a little strange, but can be useful for bulky enemies like the Sloth. The knockback, however, doesn't allow him to chain hits, as the effect lasts for 12 frames, while the time between Karu's hits is 10 frames. Slow immunity is mainly helpful for being able to avoid Crockley Slow, and at the moment, explosion immunity doesn't have any value, but in the future, it will probably gain tons of value. Same goes with the Sage Slayer, as at the moment, it doesn't have a lot of applications, but in the future, it could easily gain a ton of value. For Sages, he has a health stat of 204,000 and deals 15,000 damage, or 76,000 damage against Dogenstein. The Conjure slows for 4.33 seconds, or 5.1 seconds for treasure traits, while it weakens for 5 seconds, or 6 seconds against treasure traits. When compared to Izanami, she does have the slight edge over Karu, mainly due to her Savage Blow being able to score a gigantic amount of damage against traitless threats, but if you don't have her, then Karu can serve as the perfect replacement, since outside of immunities, Karu can shine just as well. For the folks that like going overkill, you could slot in both, but if you can only fill one in, you will probably get more value out of using Izanami. This update sees the addition of 2 new true forms, first being Bright Summer Cat. In true form, she gains the slow from her first form, slowing Angel and Black enemies for 5.6 seconds, while also keeping her strong from her second form, but now she also gains a 100% chance to knock back her targets, as well as wave immunity. Her true form simply makes it so now you can get the benefits of both forms rolled into one, such as having good survivability on top of extra additions. She can now deal solid damage while also slowing her targets, and knocking them back to give herself extra space. The main addition is her wave immunity. This allows her to be used against the likes of Yukan, Rajakan, Toucan, and Dark Dober, though for this dog, the slow and knockback have a reduced effect due to their Sage. This helps expand her role further in mixed stages as well. Overall, this true form takes the simple route of fusing both of her forms and turning them into one unit with additional tools that make her great for her traits. In order to get this true form, you need 4 purple and yellow cat fruit, as well as 3 epic cat fruit. The second true form is Lightning Jack, who swaps his secondary targeting for Aku and his immunity with Surge immunity. Aku is probably the weakest trait they could have given him when it comes to juggling his traits, as they are the one trait that can counter his style of pushing thanks to the Aku shield. With no shield piercing, they are reliant on shield piercers to get full value out of the knockback, though for some enemies like Medusan and Akugori, their lack of shields makes them way easier to manage. His Surge immunity is meant to help him with his Aku targeting and the swarms of death surges, which is a given. The immunity can also allow him to be used in other Surge heavy stages, such as the Cappy Jr. stages that deal solid damage over his lifespan. Overall, this true form mainly gets value out of his Surge immunity. In order to get this true form, you need an epic cat fruit seed, 5 blue cat fruit, and an Aku cat fruit. This update sees the addition of 1 ultra form, this being the Neck 03 Cloud Emperor. They gain a 23% boost in health, turning it to 166,400 health, Sage Slayer, Explosion immunity, an Omni Strike of negative 100 to 550, and a 50% chance to cause an explosion. The main things of note are the Sage Slayer and Explosion. Sage Slayer lets them have a rather large 332,800 health and deals 69,000 damage against stages. They also gain Explosion, which has a 50% chance to activate, which in turn allows them to deal 115,000 damage or 138,000 damage against Sage enemies. However, for an Ultra form, having only a 50% chance to proc a non-talent based ability is a little underwhelming. Talents give them an even bigger boost to their stats, and with Strengthen and Attack talents, turns their average DPS to 24,000 or 29,000 against Sages. Their specialty in knocking back zombies becomes both better and worse than Ultra form, as the Explosion can give a massive amount of pushing power against zombies, including Ulstrich. It mainly becomes worse against burrowed zombies, as the reduced backwards range means they can get targeted by burrowed zombies, but they're defenseless against them. The value of this Ultra form is mainly dependent on if you have a real lack in zombie specialists, especially for Ulstrich and general attackers. If you find you have solid zombie specialists, especially for Ulstrich, and have strong general attackers, then you could probably skip on their Ultra form. In order to get this Ultra form, you need 1 purple Behemoth gem, 5 blue Behemoth stones, as well as 5 green and purple cat fruit. One unit gains talents this update, this being for Rage Land, Passive Land. They gain Strengthen, Survive, and Wave Resist, as well as standard attack and defense talents. Rage Land gets a rather interesting set of talents, effectively turning them into the cat version of Alpaki, with their Strengthen triggering at 1% health, but the boost given to their attack is at 500%. Rageland's talents are a group of talents that require almost full commitment to, requiring both Strengthen and Survive to really work, but if you do decide to commit to them and are skillful at threading the needle, then they become an insane wide-range nuker who at level 30 alone before stat talents deals 159,000 damage. This is on par with Luffaland Passaland, but with Rageland, they sport area attack. This boosted damage can also allow him to nuke or just straight up kill a wide pool of Aku, such as Fallen Bear and Midnight D. The main thing that must be watched out for are the different forms of piercing attacks, like LD and Waves, as they will instantly kill him if you aren't careful. Threading the needle is key to making his talents worth it, but if you can thread that needle, then you have an absurdly powerful nuker on your side. Strengthen and Survive together are a must, and if you want to further bolster them up, then Attack Up is an okay investment, but you can skip out on Wave Resist, and HP Up is pointless, as you want them to be as low of a health pool as possible, and this talent makes it harder to get the Strengthen activated. One unit gains Ultra Talents, this being for God Emperor Vars. He gains an extra 50% chance to slow, a decrease in TBA, and wave immunity. Vars gains a solid improvement to his crowd control abilities, with his slow now being a 100% chance to slow, and having over 100% uptime against both relic and black enemies, thanks to his TBA reduction. TBA reduction also turns his DPS to 15,000 post-attack talents. Wave immunity is mainly helpful for Giga Honey Wanwan and Mask Grandmaster Cat. Sadly, these improvements to Vars' kit come too little too late, as by the time you can invest in their ultra talents, you will probably have much better options that require less investment at your disposal. Unless you really lack options for anti-black or relic CC, then these ultra talents can be skipped. There are 4 new enemies added to this update. The first is a brand new Sage Angel Taki named Angilaki. They break Taki tradition and actually attack within their standing range, attacking within 450 to 750 range. It will always spawn an explosion at 600 range with the 50% chance of knocking back units. 2 new event enemies are added for a summer gauntlet. The first is the South Seas Doge, who is a simple Doge who has a 30% chance to knockback and a 20% chance to survive a lethal strike. The second enemy and the boss of the gauntlet is the South Seas Otter, who will always slow units for 3 seconds, and has a 30% chance to spawn a mini-surge between 300 and 500 range. Last is an enemy variant of the mass production Avas. Unlike every other gauntlet boss, their stats don't increase. Instead, each stage adds an additional 1 to fight till a total of 9 are fought. They have a 50% chance to freeze units and are immune to waves and curse. While curse immunity in general means you can't stop their freezing, they were probably given it to counter Blue-Eyed Asuka specifically, as a nod to Asuka's eventual defeat against them. In this update, 2 brand new subchapters were added. These subchapters have officially made the jump into being brutal stages. The most important change to note is that the standard magnifications for all non-Zero Legend native enemies goes up by 20% from what it was previously. Though in version 14.6, some ZL enemies are also given this treatment, and Gokuraku goes up by 50% to 300%. For some examples, Sir Metal Seal is now 360%, Loki is now 120%, Red Energy is now 240%, and Cadaver Bear is now 420% magnification. The first Zero Legend subchapter added is a Journey Through Moments. Tower of the Time Lord has Squirrel, Proxo, Cyberhorn, and Galactic Overseer Neandum. This stage also introduces Pubzerker, a red Puffington variant who weakens. 2222 Clock Watching features Metal Doge, Shadowboxer K, Super Metal Hippo, Raging Gory, Bum Bum Black, and Sir Metal Seal. TikTok Terraces features Trolley Bloggers, BB Bunny, Red Energy, Mr. Bull, Hacky, and Johnny Leon. Effective Time Wasting features Celebudoll, Relic Doge, Lil Bun Bun, Teacher Bun Bun, JK Bun Bun, Bun Bun Black, Bun Bun Symbiote, and Relic Bun Bun. Block Oubliette features Sorrel, Star Pang, General Gogori, Old Horn, Tekkenol Hyena, and Loki. Last is the Meeting of Long and Short. This stage features Doge Dark, Diabrolo, Sinner Snake, Condemned Pang, Fallen Bear, and Cappy Jr. The second Zero Legends subchapter added is the Patisserie Parklands. Crunchy Cookie Canyon features those guys, Gabrielle, Jackie Pang, Teacher Bunbun, and Master A. Angie Lackey also debuts in this stage. The Creamy Snow Plain features Gabrielle, Shibalian Elite, Heavenly Hippo, Mr. Celebutal, and Wing Piggy. This stage also introduces Commander Ostromata, an alien Aros variant who has a 15% chance to warp units. Tiramisu Cliffs features Dojin Sign, Surrel, Mini Angel Cyclone, Tarsiriel, Calamaria, Oldhorn, and Shichiko. Tapioca Hills features Doge Dark, Zoj, The Thrillers, Zangru, Cadaver Bear, and Dark Dober. Nata de Coco Way has Crocinator, Trolley Blogger, Metal Hippo, Sir Metal Seal, Angie Lackey, and Chibanel. Last is the Fudge Museum, featuring Ms. Devil, Ginger Snake, Celebutal, Rain and Midnight D, Akugori, and Lil Neandem serving as the boss. A brand new summer map was added as an extra way to get legendary traps. Torrential Rain is the only actual stage, but this map features two continuation stages. The first stage has Snake, Squirrel, the White Winds, Sir Seals, and Libuan. The first continuation stage has both the Black and White Winds, Croxo, Helmet Crab, Imperator Seal, Autosmack-You, and the Sloth. It, along with the continuation stage after, also feature an enemy castle base that is synced to the background and will freeze all units for 2 seconds. The second continuation features the Black and White Winds along with the Boulders, Brawlos, and a Teacher Bunbun. In total, you can net 10 legendary traps every time the stage is on. A new gauntlet is added, this being the Island Defenders for the summer event. The first 5 stages feature both the South Seas Doge and the South Seas Otter, alongside Jackie Pangs and Hippos. The next 5 stages feature the South Seas Doge and the South Seas Otter, along with Doge Dark, Helmet Crab, Gory Black, and Ursa Major. On screen are all the rewards you can get from this gauntlet. This update sees the addition of 3 new Enigma stages, which can only be played through the comeback stamps, which in turn are only available if the game hasn't been opened in 3 months. All 3 of these stages give a rare ticket. The first stage features 100% those guys, BB Bunny, Piggy, Sir Seal, One Horn, and Libuan. The second Enigma stage features EOC 3 buffed BB Bunnies, Gories, Piggies, Sir Seals, and Teacher Bunbun, as well as a 100% Gabriels and Doge Darks. The last Enigma stage features Into the Future Chapter 2 balanced alien enemies, these being Shibalians, Croxos, Cyberhorns, Helmet Crabs, Scizoroo, Moth, Ursa Major, and Klee-1. The Evangelion Gauntlet added features the mass production Evas, and unlike every other gauntlet, where enemies simply get stronger, each additional stage also adds an extra mass production Eva to the stage, maxing out at 9 mass production Evas, but they remain unbuffed, while the Celebutals, Crocinators, and Metal Doges get buffed. On screen are the rewards you can get from this gauntlet, including a Dark Cat's Eye at the end. This update sees the addition of 1 new Otherworld Coliseum map, this being Uber Clearance. All Ubers are 95% discounted, and their cooldown is twice as fast. The catch is that you can only send 1 Uber out at a time. To give an example, Kazli the Bane normally has a cost of 4800 and a cooldown of 124.53 seconds. With this Coliseum, her cost goes down to 240 and a cooldown of 62.27 seconds. Round 1 features Mr. Angels, JJ Jackrabbits, Boardfim, Professor A, Cappy, Hna, and Teacher Bear. Round 2 features Doge Dark, Croxo, Tacky, Dark Joe, Midnight D, Fallen Bear, Scizoroo, and Mesmocosma Cyclone. Round 3 features Zangru, Those Guys, Zolo, Lord Gravy, Gobble, Teacher Bunbun, Arost, and Mega Baba. Clearing the stage both on 1-star and 2-star nets a rare ticket each in the missions tab. Round 4 features Shibalian, Metal Hippo, Gabrielle, Angelic Gory, Rajakon, Shibanel, Axolotl, and Sir Metal Seal. Round 5 features Celebutal, Zoj, Akudoge, Wild Doge, Rangmaster, Haniwanwan, Sorrel, Hazuku, Zappy, and Mr. Puffington. Clearing the stage on 1-star grants 2 Platinum Shards, and on 2-star grants a Dark Cat's Eye through the Missions tab. A new Arena of Destiny is added, and along with it comes a brand new set of ability orbs, which will be covered later. The stage itself has Rangmaster, Engabaru, Akugori, Cappy, Shadowboxer K, Sir Seal, Dreadbore, Zoj, and Razorback. Bonus points are earned from knocking back enemies with the knockback ability. Breaker Blast will not give any points. For the first of these miscellaneous changes and additions, a bug that allowed players to get Takuya and Yuki from the Into the Future outbreaks was fixed. A brand new music track was added for the mass production Eva Gauntlet stages. Here is a 15-second sample. The full thing can be found in the description down below. The level caps for Clamcat, Squid, and Sardine have been boosted to plus 20. Here is what all of their max stats look like. 6 brand new ability orbs are added. The first is the Cannon Recharge, in which every second unit that is sent out dies. It skips out some of the time of the Cat Cannon's recharge, between 0.1 and 0.5 seconds per rank. Dodge Orb adds an independent dodge ability to every second unit sent out, and depending on the rank is between 1 to 10% dodge chance for 1 second. This dodges any enemy, including things like the Doge Base, Ava Angels, and Witches. Units that already have dodge will count this orb's dodge as an independent activation and can work together. Then there are the Toxic, Slow, and Curse Resist orbs, which all resist the status effect by 5 to 50% depending on the rank. These orbs are additive, so a unit with an S-rank Toxic Orb can give a unit with Toxic Resist full immunity. The same is true for the Curse and Slow Resist orbs, but since the talent maxes out at 70% instead of 50%, it means that only an A-rank orb is needed. Last is the Uncanny Legends buff orb, which will boost a unit's HP and attack by a certain amount in Uncanny Legends, ranging from 5 to 50% increased stats depending on the rank. A new feature taken from the Underground Labyrinth is added to the main lineup screen and other maps. If you play a stage that has the enemies revealed, you can use this feature to generate a random lineup that considers the enemies present and some abilities like Wave and Surge, and makes a lineup that thinks it can beat the stage. You can pin units to prevent them from being swapped out. One brand new cat combo has been added, this being Wartime Burial with a Set and Holy Valkyrie cat. This is a strengthened small combo. Last are the new user rank rewards. User rank 25,300 nets 5 super rare cat size, 25,400 nets 5 uber rare cat size, and 25,500 nets 5 legend cat size. The Bikuramin content has not been found in the game files. The Sonic content from version 14.4 has been added to this version, and knowing PONOS' scheduling of things, this collab is already running or has already finished by the time this video has come out. If you want to know more about what was added in this collab, then check out my update analysis of version 14.4 to learn more. The Evangelion stuff has not been added to the game files. This update added a lot of Summer and Evangelion things, but the most interesting thing is the fact that Zero Legends now has set the standard for enemy magnifications never seen outside of Stardew Valley, and the possibilities that come from this is interesting. Perhaps we can finally see buffed Borifem, but I want to know what you guys think of this update. Let me know in the comments down below, and while you're down there, be sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video, as this lets me know that this is the sort of content I should continue to make. Also, shout out to the following channel members: Mark Lagoon, Gamet, Ian Dean, Ninja Stars, Virus El Perro, Just a Shark, Potato King, Gross Cat the Best, Tentacle Gaming, Atsushi, King Wolf, Re-Gaming, and Janek Altenberg for being silver members or higher. If you want to receive a shout out like these channel members here, then become a silver member or higher today. Becoming a channel member supports what I do in a way that helps keep the lights on and allows me to continue making the content for all of you to watch. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day.